Welcome to Good Games, and that's what the show is called. We talk about PC, console, tabletop, or arcade. I'm a fan of all of those, and we want to share what we love with the world. I'm your host, Alex Jabali, and today I'm joined by amazing brothers that are putting together the video game called Narita Boy, which is actually coming out very soon. Eduardo and Salvador. One's the founder of Studio Koba, the game designer, storyteller, and level designer. I love men with many hats that put these games together. And his brother Salvador, who does everything music composing and FX creation. How are you guys today?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great.
How are you?
Great.
Welcome. So, Narita Boy, for people that haven't heard of it yet, kind of describe the game. How would you? Somebody asks you, "What's Narita Boy?" What would you tell them first?
Well, it's an adventure game with some Metroidvania elements, with a lot of story-driven, a lot of action as well. It's kind of it's a hack and slash, but as I said, we put a lot of emphasis on the story. So pretty much that's it.
Oh, well, that works for me then. So tell us a little about the team putting it together. Besides you guys, anything information about Team 17 that they might have put out before Narita Boy?
What do you mean that to bring some info about Team 17 or the relation between 17
The relationship
and us?
with Team. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, then the relation with Team 17, they pitch us, and it was a good match. I mean, we like it a lot. Their experience on making games, not only as publishers, and for us that was super important. And yeah, I mean, since we started the relation, we learn a lot from them, and we are super happy because they help us in so many ways, including the port and console versions.
Awesome. And then Narita Boy itself, it was successfully funded on Kickstarter. How good of a feeling was that for your team when it did get funded? And was there any stretch goals or ideas that you hoped could have been a part of the Kickstarter that were not?
Yeah, I mean, for the team was amazing. We make such a good party, and we felt very grateful that that coming up with an idea and suddenly a lot of interest coming. That was amazing. As for the stretch goals, yeah, we were very close to reach the port and console versions. We couldn't reach it, and that was a shame. But in the other way, to be partnering with Team 17, that help us out to just reach this goal.
Very cool. And then the Saving the Arcade World, is that something that you as the developers put together, or was that more on the publisher side? Because I'm a huge fan of arcade culture, if you can't tell with all my fighting game stuff behind me. Kind of tell us about that, because I think that's something that's very important. And Narita Boy being based on the airport in Japan, how much of that arcade culture has influenced you guys and what you do today?
Yeah, for the credit of that idea comes from the amazing our brand manager and marketing and PR from Team 17. They come up with a lot of crazy ideas. They got in the mood of kind of find out what was the best way and what it connect the most with Narita Boy. So the credit is totally for them. And we were very happy because it makes a lot of sense that our retro game, even if you play, it's not as retro, but how it looks, how it feels, the story, it's very retro. So I thought it was a very good match. And if you ask me about Narita Boy, it is connected with the airport, perhaps, you mean?
No, and he also
yeah,
asked
like
what
the name of it. Yeah. Hey Sal, welcome to the show. What were you saying?
Yeah, hello. Yeah. I wanted to say that when you asked Eduardo about the relationship between Narita Boy and the arcade machines, that he has a lot to explain about this, because when he was like very little, he loved to play to arcade machines. He played to Double Dragon and There's a
Mm.
lot
Yeah,
there's a lot of story behind this, so he can tell you better than I.
yeah,
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
I, I,
Well, actually, yeah, yeah. Sorry,
No,
Salva. Yeah, but
go ahead.
actually, Salva is right. Yes, Alva's right. Indeed, well, both we used to play arcade machines in our kind of summer village. That was the time, end of 90s. And yeah, even I stole some coins to my aunt to play those machines. And yeah, when I decided to make the game, that was one of the connecting with the nostalgia and how I felt at that moment. That was one of the inputs that made me I got the idea to create Narita Boy. Yeah, I'm very connected with the arcade machines.
yeah, it wasn't
Awesome.
it wasn't in the late 80s, and I remember that sometime we played together Double Dragon in the arcade
Yeah,
machine. So yeah, it's a good
That's
memory.
actually one of my youngest memories ever. My oldest brother at the arcade could beat Double Dragon on 1/4 token, and he was like the local
No.
legend in that, and that's what made me fall in love with video games and arcades. Just seeing my brother beat it. Now he doesn't play video games; he has no time for them. But
Oh my god.
oh,
so about Narita Boy, tell us. It's a hack and slash. It kind of reminds you of side scrolling and like Metroidvanias. Were there any other games that kind of inspired you to make this one, even though the story and the music makes it all unique?
yeah. Salva, do you want to start with the music?
The inspiration for the music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and tell us about the Techno-sword idea.
Well, the Techno-sword
Yeah,
idea. The Techno-sword idea. It comes really from well, the story of the Techno-sword is that Eduardo, he sent me the trailer of the Kickstarter campaign, and I was like trying to do like some different musics for it, but it really nothing fit. And like at the third or the fourth version, he told me, I mean, man, we only need the arpeggios and we need like a blast, and it has to be like very simple, 80s. It's very simple, and so it's amazing because maybe I spent like 2 3 weeks doing different musics for this trailer, and I did the Techno-sword song like in an hour or 2 hours. It was very very easy, and it really comes from the from well, really like the music from the late 70s, all the Vangelis stuff and all John Carpenter and all that. But we were very influenced by the soundtrack of Beyond the Black Rainbow. There's an independent movie, like a really weird movie, and so that's a little bit the story of the Techno-sword song. That it's really the music from the original trailer in 2017.
Very cool. And then kind of the inspiration of different games that helped you develop the story. Sal,
yeah.
I'm sorry, Eduardo. Tell us a little bit about that, the inspirations.
Yeah, for me, at that time, I discovered Sword and Sorcery, Super Brothers,
Yeah, on
and
iPad.
it really inspires me. And also, I like a lot Hotline Miami. At that time, even I keep playing that game and really love the first and second part. And I told to Salva that I really like something that the music really spot out. That it has a lot of protagonism as the game itself. Because I come from the animation industry, and for us, the music is 50% of the whole package. So that was the two main inspiration. But as well, our inspirations comes from movies, from books, from comics. I like a lot 80s comic like Moebius, Rouillet, all the heavy metal stuff, Richard Corben. Um, there's a Swedish illustrator, it's called Kilian Eng. He's doing amazing stuff as well. Beyond the Black Rainbow and Mandy from Panos Cosmatos, we love a lot. Ready Player One, yeah, and a long list of influence that I mean, we get we get inspired by them a lot.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
the graphics and the music, especially, and the action, I think is going to make it a very individual and memorable game. Um, And with that, like, what was probably as a developer the biggest challenge about putting this game together for you?
I think that's a very good question. I mean, first of all, it's kind of an experience to make our first game. I mean, you tackle a lot of things that you have never done, and there's a lot of unexpected problems and issues coming from all directions. It's the path of warrior, like finding out how to solve things that you never tackled before.
Yeah.
That's from one side, and from the other side, it's like, wow, you have to build up to create a whole universe from nothing, and I can't explain you in few minutes how struggling it was the experience.
And with that, anything else? Is there anything in the future for you guys after this game? Are you kind of going to focus on this game for a little bit after release, or are you already working on other projects? You don't have to tell us, but you can tell us.
Okay. Yeah, I will. We have a lot of ideas in Koba. I mean, that's the good part. I mean, who doesn't, right? The developers are they have a box full of ideas. But yeah, I mean, we would love to keep working on Narita Boy and the Digital Kingdom, because we get used to. There's a lot we've been working, but it's gonna depend on how the sales going, how the audience receive the game, if there's interest to keep iterating on that universe. But we will love it. But it's not in our hands right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's always. Go ahead, Sal.
Yeah,
Sorry.
even for us, sometimes when we play a Narita Boy, there are like some mechanics and some part of the game that we say, "Oh, we will like this to be like much longer, and it would be like so awesome to." So maybe there's lots of ideas there to expand the universe of Narita Boy that we will love to do.
Yeah.
Well, guys, thank you so much for the conversation. Anything else you'd like to tell the players? Like, is there any maybe Easter egg or hidden thing in the game you hope people discover, or is it a pretty straightforward storytelling action adventure?
Yeah, that's a good question as well. I mean, what I suggest to players, it's like they try out the game, because there's nothing expected there. I mean, it's kind of very weird universe that even, as I said before, even it looks retro, it doesn't feel retro. Even if they come from, if the people come for the art, there's a lot of gameplay and juicy combats and so on. So I think it's quite a good experience that I will recommend people to play.
Awesome. And then Sal, for you, for fans of music that are going to love this music, is there anywhere else that you've produced music they can also listen to?
Well, before doing Narita Boy, I published another album, which is Planets. That it really comes from Narita Boy, and I'm working on another album that it also comes from lots of songs from Narita Boy. In fact, I did more than 100 songs for Narita
Wow.
Boy. That I'm gonna as a little Easter egg, we're gonna publish 50 songs. The soundtrack is gonna have 50 songs, and but there's lots of more than I'm working on it to publish it. So yeah, there's lots of music. I mean, we've been working like 4 or 5 years in this, and we have put all our love and effort, and we're really proud of the final result. Yeah.
Excited to hear that. Well, I'm very excited, guys. Ed and Sal, thank you so much for coming on the show. Narita Boy, March 13th, and pretty much every major system, Xbox, Switch, PlayStation 4, which you can also play on PlayStation 5. And I'm so happy and PC Steam, where it was Kickstarted. I'm so happy that we're at a cross generation where every system in the past is still getting these games, because when you went from like PS3 to PS4, you couldn't play those games on it. And now, as a developer, for you have a much bigger audience, which is more exciting, because now more people get to play your games. So thank you so much for coming on the show, and that's another episode of Good Games. Yeah, thank you for
coming having us.
Of course.
Thanks very much.
Take care.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.